Oh, YouTube! We back with another video, man. So, in this video, I just want to give a quick breakdown as to how I made a 38% return on waste management in about 15, 16 days. So, yes, please, go ahead, please. Thank you. I appreciate it. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So, as you guys know, I always say I never touch or trade a company that's not profitable. It's the same thing as, buying shares of a company. I would not buy a company that's not profitable. None of that. Unless, the company has some type of future growth that, I can see it potentially taking off or, you know, being around for a long period of time. But, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So, one of the convictions for me, not only did waste management come into my area, but another thing I looked at was during April, or that March April time for this year. You know how the market sold off. So the S&P sold off, I think, like 20% to officially put the market into a bear market. So what I noticed with waste management was, I also did, going further back, waste management never really has huge fall offs like that. It'd be like anything from like 10% or 13%. This one right here is another 12%, 7%. So I started to, pay attention to stuff like that. Another 13%. So, I just kept going further back and further back. So I just really wanted to see how far down does waste management truly drop. So let's look at this one. There we go. Okay, 18%. So something like this, man, you might want to buy and hold for a very long time. And when was that? What, in, what's that, 2020? Man, let's say you did a leap. Man, shit, who knows? But yeah, yeah, man. So that's one thing I really paid attention to. And honestly, let me go and take this off. And honestly, another thing that allowed me to buy too, I was like, I don't see waste management dropping back down to that, that April low. I couldn't truly see it, me personally. So price fell into one of my areas, man. And hey, I bought. It said I bought on the 8th, I believe. I believe I bought waste management on the 8th. Yep, waste management right here on the 8th. Yeah, and then we got out on this candle right here, which was earnings. So earnings was on the 29th. Well, actually, it was on the 28th. I believe that they pushed their earnings forward a little bit, to the next day. I held for earnings. I don't recommend nobody doing that. It was just something I was willing to do. I was willing to risk that. So it played out. I honestly didn't see waste management falling. Truth be told, it's too much of a great profitable company, man. Waste management is really dope. They take out trash and for renewable energy and stuff like that. They just really dope. But yeah, I truly just didn't see waste management falling no further than that April low or going back down toward that April low. Even if it did, all I was gonna do is just buy more contracts of it. Truth be told, and I was gonna buy more shares of it. So that's something that I was looking at. But one of the things that really helped me out was I looked at this trend right here. So not only this one, I believe Apple had the same one, before we took profits. So Apple fell down into this area. Once again, I said, hey, I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't think Apple coming back all the way back down to these areas right here. Even if it does, I just most likely, buy more of the contract, for a longer out period. So I looked at Apple and I seen that we were creating this little piece of resistance into this little trend line. It would come back, it would go up, come down, go up, come down, go up. This one right here actually broke through. So I was like, okay, I like that. And I believe for this one, we bought somewhere off of this candle or this candle. But whichever one it was, I was like, okay, I kind of like that. So Apple, I believe, got somewhere around here or off of this candle right here. We got out for like 28%, which, was another profitable, the trade for us. But it was off of this trend line I noticed, and I said, yeah, I see we creating, a little trend line. And once we break through, I can kind of see us pushing off. Same thing for waste management. I took two lines. So with the blue line first, I took this blue line and I said, okay, I see that we keep tapping this little area right here before we break. And I said, okay, let's say worst case scenario for the orange line. What if that, that line is a little bit further out, a little bit further away, or, a bigger trend, let's say. So I just took that orange line and I said, okay, we still got to break. So I can kind of really see us pushing up further. So luckily for us, earnings came around. They beat earnings. We did pretty good on that. That we closed that for 38%. So the trade did do like 50 something percent. I'm not greedy like that. Truth be told, I'm really not greedy like that. Once we get into profit or anything like that, especially when we in a Trump market at that, and he can say anything, to put the market in a frenzy. So I said, hey, it's 38% for one something. It's close to two. Let's not be greedy. Go ahead and take profit. So we ended up taking profits, man, and it was a really quick trade. I'm not gonna say quick trade, holding them up for like 15 days. Yeah, that's not really quick, but yes, it was a really good trade. We were able to make really great profit. And what other asset could you really, or what other asset class can you make a 38% return on your money in what 15, 16 days? Man, this contract only cost us like $500. Think if we would have put 1,000 or 2,000, hell, even $10,000. Think about that. What let's say if we $50,000, man, 50K. You feel me? And you got a 38% return, man. That's $19,000 right there for you. And big institutions, big hedge funds and stuff like that. They on the stock market. People like Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs. I'm pretty sure they on the stock market trading. Your big banks. You feel me? And like they make millions and billions. Why wouldn't we be involved in the same game? That helps them gain wealth. Also, a quick service announcement. If you guys would like to join the Discord, the link tree will be in the description below. And also, man, before I get off of this, I wanted to tell y'all, man, like buy shares of these companies, especially when they fall. So, for something like PNW, which is, what I was looking at, for something like PNW, what PNW during that April fall, like I was saying, it fell to what $144 and then jumped up to what 210, all within just what a month or two. So, let's say if we take the $144, right? And let's say we bought 10 shares of it. PNW fell down to $144 from when it was at 208, right? And it fell down to $144. Man, that is a steal in my opinion. So you bought it for $144. Let's say you bought 10 shares of them. 10 shares is gonna cost you around $1,400 and some change, right? So PNW from $144 jumped up to 210. What's that? I ain't a mathematician or that, but let's get that done. Went from 210 to 144. That's $66, right? So multiply that $66 by however many shares you have of the company. That's how you do that. That's your calculations. That's how they go. However much money that you made based off of your shares from where you bought versus from where you bought, how much it went up. So whether that's 20 or 40 or 50 or $60, multiply that by how many shares that you have. That's how much money you've made. So when we do the 10 shares, multiply that by the $66 that it moved up, that's $660 that you've made. That's just one company. Look at Apple. Well, I got shares of Apple at $200, right? At $200. Man, if Apple continues to fall down, I have shares at 200. It's now at 202 a share, right? It was just up like 214. When if Apple continues to fall down 180, 170, all I'm gonna do is buy more of it. This is how you grow your wealth. This is where the real money kicks in. This is how you're able to generate wealth. This is how everybody generates wealth, especially folks with big money. You feel me? Man, look at Apple's April fall. What was that? Down here at 170. Another 10 shares of Apple. What's that? $1,700 and some change? What's that? And it went all the way up to, what's that? 216 from what 170, like I said. That's another $46 jump, right? You multiply. I ain't gonna do that, but yeah, that's $460. So if we take that 460 plus the 660 that you would have made off of PNW, you would have made $1,120 just off of two companies. And all you spent to get that, the first one was like 1,400 and some change. So we're going to keep it flat. 1,400 and some change, 1,700 and some change. So you've only spent $3,100 to then turn around and make an extra $1,100. And then the stock is just going to keep going up. So regardless, your return on investment is just going to keep growing. it's gonna grow at a rapid, I ain't gonna say rapid pace, but it's gonna just keep growing. Especially if it's a great company, like you definitely gonna get your return back within no time, really. But man, that's how you really make money right there, man. Even Waste Management, like I said, man, Waste Management keep falling down. Hey, buy shares of these companies, man. These are great companies. That's a steal. Purchase these companies, man, so you're not always having to chase a trade. And that's one thing I wanted to mention. That's one thing I found that was so dope. I found myself like with Apple, I was like, man. I also bought shares and I bought contracts right here in this area. I was like, okay, when my contract hit like 26%, I got out for like $208. I made my money faster than I would with my shares, but my shares are gonna always keep working for me. So because I still have my money working for me, I don't feel the need to have to chase a trade. Don't get me wrong, I'm gonna like trade, yeah, but if Apple takes off, let's say I missed that trade, but I still bought my shares, Apple came up here. I'm not really too much tripping because my shares is making me money. My shares is working for me. Yeah, I may not make a faster return, with my shares based off of versus options, but I'm still making money regardless. That's the ultimate goal for me, is just to make the money. It's really just to put my money into asset classes and be able to allow it to grow for me. That's truly the game that you want to play, man. This is really how you get your wealth. But yeah, that's pretty much what I really wanted to say. So that's my rant. And y'all know to look out for the next video, and stay tuned. I always got more coming.